have a very simple ASP.NET Web application project with two web forms. On web form 1, I have two text boxes where the user can enter their name and email. And once they click this button, server.execute web form 2, they will be redirected to web form 2.aspx. And on this web form, I have two label controls, which will then retrieve the values that we enter in these text boxes and display them within those label controls. And to just distinguish between the two web forms, we have this H1. This is web form 1 and this is web form 2. Alright, so first let's code the redirection. So once I double click the button control, we have the event handler generated. So server.execute method, I want to use the execute method to redirect the user, and this method is expecting a single string parameter, which is nothing but the path of the page we want to redirect the user to. Here we want to redirect the user to webform2.aspx, so ~webform2.aspx. Okay, so once we redirect the user to webform2 on the page load event of webform2.aspx.cs, we need to write code to retrieve the values from these text boxes and display them in the label controls on this web form. And obviously we have seen how to do that in the previous session of this video series when we were discussing about server.transfer. The exact same techniques are applicable here as well. So we can use the request object's form property. And if you look at the request object's form property, this is going to give us a collection of the previous form variables. And if you look at what it's returning, it is returning a name value collection, name value pair collection object. And that object is present in system.collections.specialized namespace. So let's declare a variable of that type. So system.collections.specialized name value collection, and let's call this previous form variables is equal to request.form, and then we can use this object to retrieve the text from the text box name and text box email. So let's see how to do that. So which is nothing but, let's copy the object name here, previous form variables, and then to this we can pass the name of the text box control on the previous web form, which is nothing but txt name, and then this can be assigned to label name variable. Label name.text is equal to whatever we get back, and along the same lines we can do the same thing for txt email and assign the text from that text box to label email. So it's pretty much similar to what we have seen in the previous session of this video series. Alright, now let's go ahead and run this and see if the values that we enter on web form 1 will be transferred to the label controls on web form 2. And remember, here we are using server.execute method, and look at the URL. We are currently on web form 1 and the URL is webform1.aspx. So let's say the name is Prajim and email is prajim@prajimtech.com. And then once we click this server.execute method, we should be redirected to web form 2. So we are on web form 2. Look at that. This is the primary difference between server.transfer and server.execute. Now we are still on web form 1, but web form 2 result is also shown here. And look at the URL. The URL is still web form 1. Okay, so